Deathstorm.
Deathstorm. Their album For Dread Shall Reign. This is a thrash band from Austria. Graz, Austria. Let's take a look.
There's like a bunch of
Looking very thrash over here.
Yeah.
They originally formed in 2007 under the name Damage.
Look, he has a death's head. Oh my God, cancel him.
All right, let's move on.
So anyway.
And this is their fourth album, For Dread Shall Reign. Let's look at the album. You want to look at the album?
And, oh, yeah, here we go. So, this thing.
And it's their fourth album on Dying Victim Productions. Fun fact is mixed and mastered by Olaf Wickstrand, who is the frontman for Enforcer.
Ah, okay. They're all in the same big family together.
I suppose.
Okay.
And genre-wise, is this a thrash band? This is a thrash band. This is as thrash as it gets. It's very Slayer, old school thrash of the dirty and evil variety. It's a love letter to thrash, I would say. And I got a lot of deja vu listening to it. I felt like the riffs were very reminiscent of some very classic Slayer songs.
Slayer worship. This is Slayer worship.
Yes, very Slayer worship. And it even has one of those light tracks in the middle. Yeah. So that you know that it's an 80s thrash album.
It's very 1986, 1987 kind of thrash.
So, I feel like. Very on-brand thrash.
It's like later Slayer. It's not like early Slayer. They're not doing the huge echo vocals. They're not doing that.
It's not Show No Mercy, but it is still 80s Slayer.
Yeah.
It's not 90s Slayer.
It's not 90s or 2000s. Like, no. It's
okay. I still call that early Slayer.
It's high era Slayer.
Era.
Rain in Blood Slayer.
I like that high era
Slayer. Not like declining Slayer. Well, people have always loved Slayer, though. Like, people never really threw Slayer under the bus like they did with the other big four bands. You know? But anyway, we'll get into that. So this is, it's it's a reenactment of a modern day sort of retro band of borderline thrash. Slayer is kind of on the borderline of thrash, not like where Possessed is, but they're approaching that. Like, of the big four, they're the closest. Slayer is the most influential to death metal of any. Like,
this is not death metal.
No, but this is like towards the border of.
This is very intense thrash.
Yeah, and it's more intense than Slayer in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, more aggressive than Slayer in a lot of ways.
It's going toward Possessed, but
yeah, it's not there yet.
There's just something about it that's just
3/4 there.
Very Slayer.
3/4 there, but not. Possessed is like at the end. These guys are like 75%. Possessed is like 95%. All right, so yeah.
All right, next category.
Yeah. So you're.
You eat. Okay. All right. Production value on this is kind of rough. I'm not in love with the drum sound personally, but it sounds. It's rough production. It's going for an old school, like the old school, very true. Like, it's not going for the modern retro production. It's going for the retro production of we actually recorded this in the 80s.
High Slayer didn't sound like this. High Slayer was pretty high production.
Well, that's because then when they got big. But I'm saying like maybe a lesser thrash band at that time. What they sounded like, it was like this.
Yeah, like a second rate or even a third rate thrash band. Yeah, that was doing like the Slayer thing. Yeah, it's Slayer sound, but imagine Slayer sound with like a DIY sound. And it's very DIY. You could hear it. Like you could hear. It's kind of had this, you could say it has this warmness to it. That's a nice way of saying it. Like, it's very warm. But I like it. I like what they did. I don't, like I said, I like the homemade sound.
Yeah. I
like when bands that should have a high sound don't do it. It makes it very accessible. Because like I said, this sound is usually heard in an overproduced manner. Like Slayer. Slayer.
Most modern bands, yes. Yeah. And I would say even most modern retro bands are doing much cleaner production than this.
Yeah, I like the fact that they're doing it.
It's a little dirty. You're getting a little dirt on you listening to this.
Yeah, I like it that way. I'm okay with that.
Obviously. All
right. Too many notes? Well, they have a lot of notes, but they're the same note. So, Slayer is known for the 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 Kerry King 0 0 0 0 like just like binary, and throw a 1 in there or a 3 in there, an F or a G. Yeah, but really fast. So yeah, there's a lot of notes, but they're the same note. So that doesn't mean really too many notes.
The guitar solos are pretty simple, but they're there.
They're like Kerry King. Like Kerry. People think Kerry King's an awesome guitarist. He just plays a lot of notes really fast. He's not a guitar masturbator in any way. And or Jeff Hanneman.
Yeah.
Either way.
I found some of the solos pretty interesting, actually, like in a demented kind of way.
But that's demented Slayer sound. They kind of sound really evil, but it doesn't mean they're complicated.
They sound demented, like they're a little off.
Oh, like they're not. Like not the way Kerry King like
not like Kerry King,
because they sound demented, but Kerry King, but like he kind of.
I think a good example of what I'm talking about is the guitar solo on the last track, "Human Individual Metamorphosis." Interesting.
Yes.
But yes, as far as technical ability, it's a little rough in spots, but that's kind of the idea. It's like this is slapped together. Like this is going for like one of those albums that a band recorded in an afternoon while they were really drunk in the 80s, and it was an instant classic kind of feel, where they
didn't do like a lot of coke and take months to do it.
Yes, no, this is very raw, very rough.
They didn't spend the recording budget on coke.
Very in the moment, and that's definitely what they're going for. So no points off.
All right, so that means they worked pretty hard. They just bought a case of beer and they finished it. They didn't spend it all on.
Listen, we got things to do. We can't spend a whole week recording.
That's what bands used to do.
We're gonna do it today.
Bands used to take like years. Like Black Sabbath would just like buy a bunch of coke and just not record the album.
Go to some manor.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. Back then, like we're gonna record this in this manor. Like Aleister Crowley used to live in this manor. We're going to record it in here. We could have his spirits speak to us. People were fucking ridiculous back then. Fuck everyone back then.
All right.
They were fucking ridiculous. Okay. So,
are these guys fun or serious? They're pretty fun. I feel like they've got a couple very bold vocal references. There's one lyric that says "suffering in the hour of reprisal."
That doesn't mean anything.
I mean, I feel like that's a callback to "Awaiting the Hour of Reprisal."
That's like Slayer lyrics. Like suffering to the call of reprisal.
But the way he sang it in the exact same way, I think it was like a call. It was like a callback.
Yeah, I think so.
Like these guys are having fun. And
this is total brain and blood error stuff.
And you will have fun listening to it, or you should. I mean, Slayer's gone.
Yeah.
Why not listen to these guys?
Yeah.
Especially if they're like young Slayer and not like bloated Slayer.
Middle Slayer.
Middle Slayer.
Middle-ish.
High Slayer.
High Slayer.
High Slayer, except with, budget production.
Every musician in their career, when they were like around 28, they made their best albums. For the thrashers anyway. Like Metallica, Slayer, Megadeth. Like they were all in the late 20s. That's when they made their big album. Justice for All, Rain and Blood, Rust in Peace. I don't know what Anthrax did. I don't know where to put Anthrax on there. But
don't include Anthrax.
I'm not shitting on you, Anthrax.
But this album is fun. It's for having fun,
So this sound is safe with any level of metal adventurism. Since there's no more Slayer, we don't have Slayer anymore. People in general still want Slayer. Like no one really shits on Slayer.
Young people will shit on Slayer sometimes.
I don't see it often. Like, in Slayer, because Slayer didn't really have the bad album. They had that Diabolus and Mazacabolus.
Young American people will.
Maybe. Okay. But I feel like
not Europeans.
I'll talk to like anyone about Slayer and they'll be like, yeah, fucking Slayer, no matter like who they are. Like I don't know. I've never found people that really disrespect Slayer. Because Slayer never made a Saint Anger. Slayer never made a Risk. Like they made Diabolus and music, but I never listened to that album. But it wasn't like a huge departure in their.
Well, I think like when young people don't like Slayer, it's because they associate with the metal boomer daddies going Slayer.
Yeah. It's the same as the AC/DC guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's their AC/DC guy. Is the Slayer.
Well, that's how you're supposed to say Slayer. Slayer. That's what you're supposed to say it. That's what people do. That's what old metal guys do. Yeah, I think the young people will never understand that. They're like, "What is wrong with you, man?"
Not all young people, obviously.
Yeah, some young people.
The young metal hipsters,
like that guy with the beard. That he'll go Slayer. Like he has no problem with that. He's like, "Yeah, more beard, Slayer." Like that guy's okay with Slayer. But and like a lot of people, like I was talking when one of these guys I was interviewing, I had mentioned Slayer. I was expecting him to like be beyond something like that, but no, he was like, "Yeah, Slayer," like as if it was just like mandatory. It's of course it's a Slayer. Who doesn't like Slayer? But they're the most of like the metal, true metal guys. They're less likely to like they'll be quick to bash Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax,
Yes, I see what you mean.
Of the big four, of the popular metal bands, Slayer will always get the most respect.
And they should.
Yeah, they didn't really, even in their final days, they weren't playing light music. In their final days, look at what Metallica's doing now.
They said, fuck you to the 90s.
And Slayer was making money playing this music. They were making good money playing like still heavy music in a way like Metallica will never do anymore.
All right, back to this album. As much as it sounds like Slayer, there's something about it that's just also still very European. Like,
yeah.
No American band would have made this album.
Well, you can hear the accent too. I mean, it's kind of an accent.
I guess, but I'm just saying, like, just the whole thing, the attitude, this, even just the act of making a pure Slayer worship album. No American bands are doing this. It's a very Europe thing. So it's like, that's why we're putting it middle of the road here between hipster and boomer. It's definitely a thing in Europe to do this kind of album, not a thing here. And it's not like a pretentious thing at all. It's just a very much for the love of the music, true thing.
They love Slayer.
So, it was Slayer.
They carved it into their arm. Carved Slayer into thy arm. That's what they did.
So, what do we think of the album art?
This does not say Slayer to me.
I like it though.
Slayer was way dark. Like Slayer art was like they had that special artist doing their thing, and it was like really dark stuff. I don't know who the artist was. He was some crazy dude. This looks more like a Night Demon or something. It looks like that. It reminds me of that.
I don't know. I like it. It's
that
like
kind of band.
Silly.
It doesn't look like Slayer. Like this art does not look Slayer at all. It's like one of those like retro album covers.
They don't have to. They're not like we're making the cover album of a Slayer album that didn't exist. Like, they are a band. They are a real band. Okay, they're not like everything we do has to be Slayer.
This just looks like a speed metal band, like a retro speed metal band doing an album cover. Like Night Demon or something, or well,
that's appropriate.
This artist is probably the same guy that's been doing those album covers. I don't know who this guy is, but I think this guy's been doing a lot of covers. It's, to me, like his style. I don't know who the guy is. It's not like if it was Ed Repka, Ed Repka instantly. But this is like I don't know who this is, but this guy is definitely someone popular.
How did you feel about
Comment
this?
down below. This album?
Yes.
Yeah. It's it's Slayer worship.
It's good times.
When you hear something that sounds like Slayer again, high Slayer, you're like, oh yeah,
it's got the riffs.
Yeah, you're like, all right, yeah.
Come for the riffs, stay for the screaming.
It doesn't take too much thinking. It's not, there's not a lot of crazy things going on like Drainbow Guy, but this is it's relaxing.
It's relaxing. It is not relaxing at all.
It is relaxing.
It's relaxing for the guy who says Slayer.
Well, yeah.
Slayer man.
And he's happy again because he's I got Slayer. Yeah, it sounds like Slayer.
Well, the thing is that guy's never going to hear about this band.
Yeah. He's probably most likely not going to search for this.
Just listening to Slayer.
He might find it though. He might.
But we advocate people listen to the Slayer clones.
Yeah, there's a lot of Slayer. There's a lot of people doing this. Since Slayer left, they're going to try to fill that void. And, just... Why not? There's nothing,
anyway.
It's not a crime.
Deathstorm for Dread Shall Reign. Check it out.
It's not a crime. It's not a crime. All right, that's all with the musical reviews, yeah.